Hello, everybody. This is Doing Dinner with Chef Chris on 90.7 WKGC, NPR, Panama City Public Media. And today on Doing Dinner, it's a very special day because I'm surprising my co-host, Ryan, with a dinner party based around a movie that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do this. I've pitched it to a couple people. We just haven't had any real invites yet, Ryan. So,
well, I love movies, Chris, as you know.
I do know.
And
your show, tell everyone about your show.
Listeners, I host the show Real Talk, which airs live at 1 Eastern, 12 Central here on 90.7 WKGC, where you can join these cinematic conversations frame by frame each week. If movies are your thing, give us a ring. We review new releases, talk classics. I will have many guests on the show, and I hope that those that listen to the show not only appreciate the reviews, but are also inspired to go out and watch movies at the theater in a communal setting, and then discuss those movies with your friends. Yes. I love the movies, and hope that those that listen to the show may develop a love of movies themselves.
Exactly, which is why we do dinner parties on Doing Dinner, because it's the same thing. It's a communal experience, and it is an experience. You know?
It is.
You can only get movie theater popcorn in one place.
At the movie theater.
That's it. And that's the only place you can get it. So, but
although at $10 for the bucket, $20 for the bucket, they're starting to price themselves out of the popcorn, because as a chef, Chris, you know that popcorn is dirt cheap.
It's not very expensive. It's not. The employees that make it are expensive. but the popcorn is very inexpensive. But today we are going to dive into an idea that is become fairly popular recently, and it's called Forkin' Films. So
is that like the dine-in movie theater?
It is kind of like a dine-in movie theater idea.
This is something different.
But you're doing it in your home setting, or you're doing it in a communal setting, in a community. Because, you know, we do have movie theaters now that serve complete dinners. So people had the idea to do what we call Forkin' Films. And I first heard this from one of my friends, Lex, who was involved in Redfish Film Fest for a while.
Right.
Yeah. And Lex was like, oh, there's these things that we do in L.A., and they're called Forkin' Films, and we want to do them. And I was like, oh, I want to do one. And she's like, well, what movie? And I said this movie first. So I'm challenging my co-host, Ryan, today.
Okay, so this where I say I am forkin' excited.
You're forkin' excited, man. You're so forkin' excited. You know? So it is dinner with a movie. That is the point of today's show. And yes, Ryan, you are going to be Richard Gere on WKGC minus the private jet in Seattle. And we are talking Pretty Woman.
I love Pretty Woman.
We are talking Pretty Woman, a love story. And let's be honest, it's also a food story, because there's like champagne, strawberries, pancakes. It's basically like Julia Roberts inventing brunch culture before brunch culture was even a thing.
Wow.
Which is fun. And Pretty Woman does have a lot of food influence in it. And the story is great. It's a classic American love story in a place that I think kind of like is dreary and damp and cloudy. And I think a lot of times that's what love stories are.
Yeah.
So Pretty Woman is one of my favorite movies.
Do you know the story behind the famous clamshell and laughter?
It was like it was all natural for Julia, wasn't it? It was like this
completely impromptu.
Yeah, impromptu. It was Richard Gere impromptu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slams the clamshell Julia Kay shut, and then that burst of laughter we get from her, which is on every sizzle reel that has a clip from Pretty Woman. It is that moment, and it was just pure accident. It was impromptu, and yet that accidental moment is the definitive moment by which we know Pretty Woman.
I mean, it is like, I guess you could say it is the most replayed GIF in rom-com history.
I see that GIF used an awful lot.
In history, right? It's like, it's such an iconic part of that movie. Yeah. So we should definitely serve clams at this menu just because it was a clamshell jewelry box. But which would be fun, right? And then you can play into it, especially if your guests know Pretty Woman, or as that moment comes into the movie, you're serving clams, possibly in like clamshell containers, which would be fun too. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk Pretty Woman.
something that I find particularly interesting about Pretty Woman, or that I like to point out when I've talked about the movie, is its origins. It has shared origins with another famous movie, My Fair Lady, each adaptations of George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion. My Fair Lady, is the more kind of direct adaptation, but Pretty Woman borrows a lot of themes from it, a little from Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, but there's a lot shared with Pygmalion, and it reminds us how timely Shakespeare was, George Bernard Shaw was, and how their works are timeless because here we are talking about them today, and they continue to be inspirations for future filmmakers.
Really? I didn't know that. But I do know one thing I found out planning the show, that Julia Roberts was only paid $300,000 for this movie, which is mind-blowing. I mean, okay. And then, I found out Richard Gere also, almost wanted to not be in the movie, and what they created was, cinematic love and masterpiece.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
And,
yes.
It's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. If you haven't ever seen this movie, you should definitely watch it because it just hits a lot of notes that are like, wow, they created modern rom-com with this thing,
So as everybody's entering this party, Chef Chris, are we walking through the entryway with Pretty Woman playing in the background?
Absolutely. You will hear Pretty Woman a lot at this party. And I do really want to do this because I just think that I think love and food is important and it goes together, right? That's why we go out to eat on Valentine's Day. So doing a party like this, even on a Valentine's Day, even if it was for all your single friends, would be a lot of fun because, yes, it may remind you of what you don't have, but you have all this love around you and your friends, too.
But maybe because you don't have that, you can afford to go to this dinner party.
Or the movies.
Or the movies.
It's okay. But I love that about what Pretty Woman stands for, and I've always wanted to create a dinner party around it. So eventually I will get there. Eventually this party will happen, like most of the parties that we do on Doing Dinner either have happened or they will happen, or and the show helps us plan them in front. But I do know that some of the things in the movie that come up with food are, Julia Roberts loves pizza, and did you know that she considered being in Eat, Pray, Love?
No, I did not know that.
But I'm glad she didn't because Eat, Pray, Love is not the love story that Julia Roberts needs with her love of carbs and pizza. But and one thing I didn't know researching the show today and in the movie is, and one thing we love to do in the first segment of the show is talk about how we get to where we are going to be. Did you know that Richard is a Buddhist and he is a vegetarian?
No.
Yeah, which is crazy. So it's what? I would have never guessed that, ever, watching any of his films or any of the things he's done, him being a Buddhist and somebody who's no, I only eat vegetables. I am a vegetarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
did not know that.
Yeah. And Edward Lewis, the reason escargot, which is an iconic scene.
Oh, yes. Which also ties into last week's dinner
party. It does. We
which
talked
was a French-themed dinner party, escargot. So we're still carrying on this French-adjacent theme even into this week.
We've been on amuse-bouche for 4 weeks, and now we're on escargot for 2, which is great. But Richard Lewis is the reason that escargot was in the film, and how she didn't know, how Julia Roberts' character did not know how to eat escargot, and then you have the slip and the fork and the flip, and which is also a very iconic scene in American movies.
Oh yeah,
and
which might have been inspired by I mentioned Lucille Ball and the scene from I Love Lucy when she was to France last week, and so this may have also been inspired by that notable scene from television.
It probably was that. But I think when you break down the story and kind of how I like to break down menus and food and do a dinner party, simplify it down and then expand from there. So, we take everything from a very high level on 30,000 feet and then we break it down all the way to a couple feet above the ground. And then we're okay, so what does all this mean? And like one of the things I was thinking whenever I was creating this menu this morning was, the whole point of Pretty Woman is opposites attract. So I think a lot on the menu you will see in the next segment of the show is going to be a lot of things that you wouldn't think necessarily go great together, but seem to work.
They complement
one another, which sometimes we look for things that are going great with each other, but it's really not what we need. We need things to complement us, not supplement us, And,
I like that.
Yeah.
Complement, not supplement.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm good at this, so I want somebody good at this. No, we don't need we don't need that, If you're good at building muscle, you don't need muscle builder. No, you don't need that. So, but that's what it was. Whenever I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I'm so excited about doing this show. I'm so excited about doing this party. It's Pretty Woman. It's Julia Roberts. It's Richard. It's like peak American movie cinema, love rom-com.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get better than Pretty Woman. They set the standard for what it is, right? And it has escargot in it, so we have to love it. And champagne and pancakes. Like, so all of that has to do with love. Like,
all sound delicious.
Well, if you eat snails for somebody, Ron, you like them.
I've never had snails. I've never had escargot at a proper French bistro or restaurant, but I have had escargot at Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, where the way they serve it, and this is probably something with which you're familiar, Chef Chris. They serve the escargot in these little bread bowls, and so they have the snail in these little bread bowls, about the size of a quarter, maybe the size of a $50, and they're hollowed out, and the snail is on the inside, and it's butter and garlic, and so you just pop the whole little bread bowl in your mouth.
Oh yeah. That sounds delicious. Was it good?
It's very good.
Yeah, it's very good. So those that have never had snails, they do get a bad rap. They do taste really, really good. I guess the best way to explain them is like anything else. It's kind of like chicken.
I don't recall it having a distinct flavor, like where I would know, as you pointed out, that I would know it was a snail. Because they're very absorbent. They're very absorbent. The texture is a lot firmer than, say, that of an oyster.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like octopus.
Firmer. Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Snails have the similar texture to very properly cooked octopus.
Okay.
So, but the cool part about a snail is it just absorbs all the flavor that you put with it. It does have like a very mild, like earthy protein flavor. Which is good because that's what chicken has, and we're used to that, as many cultures are. But the reality is, like, if you put soy sauce on a snail, it's going to taste like soy sauce. It absorbs anything you put with it, which is why butter and garlic and herbs make snails taste really, really good, which is the classic preparation of that. So, well, but we're going to get into the menu, and it's going to be fun. I think we're going to do a buffet, because this is a fork and film.
Buffet style.
Yeah, I know that in the movie they have these very elaborate dinners where Richard takes her out to dinner, and she doesn't know how to behave, which is fun. And one of the ideas I did have with this fork and film was also making it a what do they call that? Like in British culture, where you learn how to be proper. What is that called? Etiquette.
Etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine showing up to a tongue teasers. A film and fork.
Fork and film.
Fork and film. That you are coming to an etiquette class.
I think that could be a lot of fun. And in part, what makes Pretty Woman an endearing film is Julia Roberts' character, because she's so relatable. Because most of us do not attend parties.
We don't know how to eat
like that. Dinners like that. And although you may know that there are different forks and different spoons, when you're sitting down there at a table, at a party, it's very intimidating. And so her reaction is very natural, which is why we are drawn to her, because we can easily put ourselves in that position. We may not share her same occupation.
No.
But
or the boyfriend who buys her the Chanel dress. But,
but yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes, is other than the clamshell necklace, it is going into the expensive boutique, and they just want to like throw her out, and she's like, "No, I got money to spend."
Yeah.
So don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly, and you shouldn't. But I think if I ever do this party, which I am going to do this party, I will incorporate etiquette training into it.
I like it
because I think one of the coolest things to do for guests is to make them uncomfortable.
Maybe elaborate on that a little.
So what I mean is, they're not going. If we were doing this as like a 7-course classic pre-table set French menu, which is tons of silverware on the table,
Glassware menu.
Yeah, tons of glassware on the table, very elaborate. Like you're looking down at everything but food when you sit down. It can be overwhelming because people don't know how to eat like that anymore. It is. Unless you're working at Buckingham Palace or you're, throwing parties at Versailles, like you just don't work like this. And unless you live in that culture, but I think we're infatuated with it as a group of people, and I think us learning it is a lot of fun because we don't have to be proper, right? Like we're here to have fun. Like we're here to learn how to be this way, but we can still have fun with it. So that's why I would want to do it that way. But in this sense, I think what we do is we kind of do a buffet and then maybe have some tables set up that are like etiquette training and have someone there that is doing etiquette training, like how to actively eat at a table, like happened in Pretty Woman, where you don't walk in and feel like you are lost.
Yeah,
I
like it.
So we can start going over some of the menu items that I have before our break here.
Let's get. How about that 30,000 foot level, Chris?
Yeah.
Before we go into our break. So overall, we know it's a buffet. How else would you describe the menu? What are we in store for at this dinner party?
I mean, because it is Pretty Woman, I think we have to have champagne.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I think there has to be strawberries. Because if you're on a date or you're at a date like this, then I think strawberries are important, and so is champagne. Absolutely has to be escargot. That is. Yep. I mean, it's an iconic scene from the movie. So I think escargot in some way is definitely going to be on our menu. And then I really like this idea that I have.
Okay.
And this idea is, at this fork and film, there's going to be 2 sections. There's going to be a section where there's tables, where everyone is sitting watching the movie. And obviously we'll probably have a big screen with a projector. But there's going to be another section where there's no tables. And then we're going to bring out pizza boxes and set them on the ground. And everyone has to get up from the table, like Vivian did in the movie, and eat pizza on the floor. Because it was, to me, that's one of my favorite things about what it is. It's like she's eating in this fancy restaurant, but really she just wants to eat pizza on the floor, Yeah. And yeah, it's cool to experience the fancy restaurant, but it also takes you back to your roots in that sense. And I love being able to do that in an experience. Like that's what we do on Doing Dinners. We do experiences. So
I think it's a fascinating dichotomy.
It is.
Because I think the juxtaposition is ripe for comedy.
It is.
I think it's a great way of loosening your guests up at the party. Because if it was just this like starch stiff collar, party, that I think it could be those that are not into it as much, I think may lose interest or may not have a lot of fun. But by providing the pizza, it gives them something that's a part of their world,
it is,
which has now been introduced to this. And I think pizza's got to be one of those things, and you may even have the statistics on this, that it is one of the most beloved dishes
on the planet.
Yeah. And so
every country has a pizza joint. Every one of them. But it is cool. It is the comic relief of a movie.
Yeah.
But during a dinner party. So you're sitting at this nice dinner with these nice tables. Yes, it is buffet, but the food is very nice and it's presented nicely, and you're eating on this nice china.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, me, the chef, tells you, everybody stop, get up, move over there. And then I need everyone sitting cross-legged on the ground, and then pizzas are delivered.
Eating the pizza. Well, listeners, you are listening to Doing Dinner on 90.7 WKGC. You are with Chef Chris and me, Ryan, and we will be right back to continue our discussion over the Pretty Woman dinner party coming up after the break.
WKGC News is proud to simulcast our Bay County Commission meetings. Listen to your local government in action.
I agree 100% and couldn't have said it any better.
On the first and third Tuesday of each month, WKGC brings you live coverage of the Bay County Commission meeting.
There's a compromise in there somewhere, and we'll figure it out.
Here when you need us, WKGC 90.7 FM and HD.
So with that, meeting adjourned.
WKGC News is proud to simulcast our Bay County Commission meetings. Listen to your local government in action.
I agree 100% and couldn't have said it any better.
On the first and third Tuesday of each month, WKGC brings you live coverage of the Bay County Commission meeting.
There's a compromise in there somewhere, and we'll figure it out.
Here when you need us, WKGC 90.7 FM and HD.
So with that, meeting adjourned.
Welcome back to Doing Dinner on 90.7 WKGC. You are with Chef Chris, and Chef Chris is sharing with us today how to create an experience with the theming of Pretty Woman at your next dinner party.
It is. Today we're doing a fork and film, which is basically, Ryan, what you do at a fork and film is you show a movie and you have dinner. Which is fun. They are starting to be very, very popular because we like now as a culture to be involved in experiences. And that's kind of what our MO is, and we like to sell experiences and be a part of experiences and immerse ourselves into the experience with guests. So that's why we're here on Doing Dinner. And today on Pretty Woman, we talked about like kind of a little bit of the history of it and how we're definitely serving escargot.
And pizza.
On
the floor.
On the floor. You will not eat pizza if you haven't seen Pretty Woman, there is a scene, spoiler alert, where she eats pizza on the floor of her apartment. It's, to me, one of the most iconic parts of that movie. But anyways, so I'm thinking definitely starting off talking about the menu with champagne. And we've talked about,
as individuals are arriving, is that sort of a there may be a proper name for it, but like a welcome cocktail?
A welcome cocktail is definitely going to be champagne, and then I think we have like this nice table set up with a bunch of different strawberries. So yes, we have the normal strawberry we know.
Different strawberries.
Yeah,
I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar. I'm familiar with just strawberries in general, but I didn't know that there were different.
Yeah, there are different types of strawberries. Ones that grow in Michigan are different than the ones that grow in Florida, and the ones that grow in France are definitely different than the ones that grow in Florida.
I had no idea.
Yeah, but you can order all of them. So we can get all of these different types of strawberries, which would be fun, and then you can label them with very nice hand script writing. Definitely some calligraphy going on in like the labeling of the dishes.
Are any of these chocolate covered strawberries?
Absolutely, yeah. So some of them will be like covered with chocolate. We could have some white chocolate ones. I think that it's very important that we have ones that look like tuxedos because like it goes with the theme of when they have the dinner, and Edward Lewis is all nice and dressed up and but I think that would be fun. And then having like just glasses of champagne sitting on the table. So it's like you have this strawberry buffet that's very like, what is going on here? With different chocolate covered strawberries, and you could even do some funky ones. You could do like white chocolate macadamia and strawberries, which would be fun.
Sounds very good.
It would be good. And you could even do some more savory stuff too, like
savory strawberries.
Yeah, I mean strawberries aren't all the time super sweet. Sometimes they're not in season and they're a little unsweet. So whenever that happens, I like to add, which I don't cook out of season very often, but when it does happen, I try to add seasonal ingredients. Like you could do like an oyster with strawberry mignonette, which is like this acid-based oyster sauce, you know.
Oh.
You can have like a couple of different options there that are made with strawberries too. So, and oysters kind of fit the movie as well. Like there's some love in oysters, like we've talked about before. They can be an aphrodisiac, according to some people.
Is there truth in
I
that,
don't
or is
think
it
so.
just folklore associated with oysters?
I mean, I love oysters. One of my best friends is a professional oyster shucker, but really they're giant boogers.
Okay. That does not sound like an aphrodisiac.
But it is an aphrodisiac. According to Aphrodite, it's an aphrodisiac.
Okay.
You know, and we should listen to everything that Greek god said. But I think champagne and strawberries in multiple different levels, focusing on whole strawberries with maybe a couple dishes, like maybe a piece of cornbread that's like a sweet cornbread that's just like nice and well done with some like strawberry chutney on top would be cool. Depending on your location, here I would do that dish because we're in the deep south and like I know people would love it. But just a couple different strawberry hors d'oeuvres or amuse-bouches across the board: sweet, savory, salty. Play into your local dynamic and try to make something that makes sense with that strawberry and champagne idea, because champagne simply does taste better with strawberries. It does.
Okay.
Yeah. At least I think so. And then we're talking escargot.
Okay, so we've arrived at the party. We have our welcome cocktail.
Yep.
We're not to the buffet yet, so we
Nope.
have our amuse-bouches that are around for us, and up next is the escargot, which I know you've been dying.
We got to do the escargot. The escargot and the strawberries and champagne are not on the regular buffet.
So these like high top tables perhaps that
Yes,
have. Okay.
yes. But I think the escargot we have to serve at the table, like they do in the movie.
Okay.
Okay, because no one's going to know how to eat it, which is fun. And that's where we do this big, elaborate scene where we bring in people who know how to eat escargot, who may have like some etiquette training, and they could train everyone at the party, which would be a slightly uncomfortable situation for most people, but also fun, because we're all in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
The reason that we get uncomfortable, I think, at parties like this is because we don't know how everyone else is going to react. But the reality is most of the people at this party probably never eaten escargot. And that's what makes it fun. It's like, oh, we're all in the same boat. And have an etiquette trainer come in as the movie's kind of playing, and just like pause. This is how you eat escargot properly, and train us how to eat escargot.
Maybe like a Julia Child type?
Yeah. Oh, that would be even better if it was a Julia Child type. Yeah, that would be awesome. It would be awesome if you had the budget to actually get Julia Child to teach you how to eat escargot at your Forkin film for Pretty Woman. But, yeah, I think that's the coolest part about it is have someone. That is the one plated dish you're going to get, and you get to eat escargot with somebody who understands it and can like kind of train you through the process. Because in the movie it does slip up, right? Like, what does she do? She like flips it across the room. Like, I don't remember exactly how it all goes down because I can't remember movie quotes, but I know it's funny and it's very comedic, and I also know that escargot is delicious. So. Lots of butter, lots of herbs. So I'm thinking you take the snails, you pull them out of the shells. You can buy snails that are already out of the shells, and you can put them like in these little dishes, which is they come like 6 to a dish.
Okay.
So kind of like oysters. Probably get some of those. Cook the snails with a bunch of really nice French butter, a bunch of herbs, some garlic. I would probably put. Traditionally in France they use Pernod, which is
Pernod, I'm unfamiliar with.
It's like it's like a anise flavored liqueur that they flambe it with, which is you pour this liqueur into a hot saute pan and it like flames up and like burns off the alcohol, and it really opens up the dynamic of garlic and herbs very, very well, and it makes it taste delicious.
Oh, well now I Pernod.
Yeah, you Pernod. But you could also use absinthe.
Okay.
You know, you could use any, I guess, fennel or licorice flavored liqueur in this situation. You could even add fennel if you didn't want to add any alcohol, but I think Pernod is the proper way to do it. And so it's like a bunch of butter, herbs, garlic. Pour the Pernod, like cook it down, maybe a little cream, and then you scoop these snails into these little dishes that you can get on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive. And then you bake them off like you would oysters. So put a little breadcrumbs on top, and they're just like these roasted snails in these little dishes. And people don't know how to really eat them, but they get the little forks, and we scoop them out, and they're delicious. They really, really are good. If you like oysters, you'll like snails. But I think that's what you have to do, and then I think you have to have an etiquette trainer there, like coaching everybody through the process. So, yeah, that's that. And then I think immediately from that, as the movie is playing, we roll into pizza. And we talked about pizza in the last segment. And there is a scene in the movie where Vivian, and Vivian is like one of my favorite names, by the way. For those that don't know, I have a daughter named Vivian.
Is Viv her?
Viv is her, Vivi or Viv is her nickname. But anyway, she eats pizza on the floor of her apartment. And I think that's where you go from this very uncomfortable situation where they're eating snails to letting them eat something they're extremely familiar with, like you said in the last segment, Ryan, and not even in a chair. Like, we're eating it on the ground. As we're watching Pretty Woman, we're eating pizza on the ground, and I think it's a very bonding moment for everyone. It's like, okay, we went from uncomfortable to comfortable, and I think people would love that. What do you think about that idea of going from a situation where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, to, oh, I'm going to love this?
I like it.
Yeah?
It gives, it changes the energy of the room. It creates movement, so you've got the kinetic energy there. You're going to have those that were perhaps very comfortable at the more formal setting are now going to be the ones who are uncomfortable sitting on the floor. And so I like the idea of kind of that role reversal. It's a lot of fun.
I think it would be cool, too. Especially if it's like the pizzas aren't there. You don't know you're getting them. There's no printed menu for this thing. Because it's like you can't print the menu. People are like, I don't know if I'm going to eat that, you know? A lot of times whenever we're doing dinner parties, we get into that, whereas people are like, oh, I saw the menu and I don't really like it. And it's like, well, how do you know? Like, well, I've had fennel before. I didn't like it. I'm like, well, it's nobody likes raw fennel. Is that how you had it? You know, it's like, where did you eat it at, or how did it come? So I think it's fun to, like, this will be a party with no printed menu. Like, people are walking in and they don't know what they're eating, which can be really, really exciting for people that are adventurers, like natural Enneagram type 7 type people are going to love this type of party. Just cheese pizza on the floor. We're going to eat a slice of pizza, and then we're going to go back to the tables.
No pepper. We can't have pepperoni?
We can have pepperoni.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have pepperoni.
Okay.
Which is my favorite pizza.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I know
Pepperoni
you can get almost anything on a pizza now. However, in my opinion, nothing beats a classic pepperoni pizza.
Nope, nothing beats a classic. You're correct, it doesn't. Especially if it's the pepperonis that cup, like the ones that like bubble up. Oh, those are the best. Yeah, those are the best pepperonis.
They're kind of crispy around the edges.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I recently had a pizza, a little off topic here, that I was like, this is really outstanding and new, and I've never had anything like this, and I really, really enjoy it. And that was a butter chicken pizza, like Indian butter chicken on a pizza. And it was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I like butter chicken to begin with, but putting it on a pizza, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. And it was like stunning.
Well, buffalo chicken pizza works.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't see any reason why butter chicken pizza
Never thought of it. I had it and I was like, wow. Okay. This is my second favorite pizza after pepperoni now. I took over the spot of margarita. Yeah, which is a classic as well. Yeah. But then I think we opened up our buffet after pizza. Our buffet is going to be very, very simple. I want to have a carving station. So a man station with somebody there carving steak. Because I think steak is sexy, and it's fun, and it's very romantic. And, you know, think about when you go out on a date, you're going to, the best ones are usually like really fun steak restaurants or steakhouses. And then I want to make my favorite thing to make, which is risotto. I love making risotto.
That's your favorite thing to make?
It's my favorite thing to make. I always love making risotto. It's rich, it's creamy, it's delicious. Everyone that I've ever fed it to loves it. It just resonates with everyone. It's a dish that sounds expensive, but comes from kind of a peasant place in Italy. Risotto is actually not the dish. It is the way the dish is cooked, which is kind of cool because there's carnaroli rice, there's arborio rice, there's a couple different rices that you can use to make risotto. But I want to do like this action station of someone sitting there roasting whole or grilling whole New York strips or filet mignon, but I would prefer New York strips because it has a little fat on it. There's a little more flavor there. And then slicing it and putting over this just like really beautiful, well-made Parmesan risotto that's got like a bunch of chives in it. And then just hitting it with like a quick brush of like a very well-made like hibiscus demi-glaze that is just like luxury and sexy and delicious. You know, it's very filling, but it's fun, and the buffet will kind of put that together for you. So you're not serving yourself this. Like you're kind of, yes, you'll have to wait in line, or maybe we could call up tables on that and say, hey, table one, it's your turn. Okay. And then like we plate it in front of them, and then they take it back to their table, which I think would be a lot of fun. And then alongside that, I think you have to have great bread and butter. And then I want to do like this roasted broccolini salad with like thinly shaved shallots that are pickled and like some.
Oh, you lost me there.
Yeah, you don't like pickles.
I do
but
not.
You don't.
No pickles, no olives, no beets.
Oh, okay. Just beat it then, Ryan. No beets on this, but I was gonna say like some blistered cherry tomatoes.
I like those.
Yeah. And just like make it really nice, and it's a very simple, but it's served on the side, so it's not served together, right? So you're getting 2 plates on this, and you don't have to get them either if you don't want. But I also love, and I think we should make a Caesar salad. So this is kind of like a traditional like semi-steakhouse meal. So we got roasted New York strips, sliced thin, sliced up, put on top of your risotto with Parmesan.
So since we're doing escargot earlier, do you think that this Caesar salad should be properly made with the anchovies on it? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. The anchovies are in the sauce. They're in the dressing. I wouldn't put any on top, but definitely put them in the dressing. I love making Caesar salad. I think it's universally safe and delicious for everyone.
Now, there's a story behind Caesar salad, which ashamedly, I do not remember all the details, but it was made famous by a restaurant. And it was because it actually has nothing to do with Italy at all.
No.
However, you have to remind me. Do you know the story behind the Caesar salad?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you tell us the story, and then we'll head into our next break.
So the Caesar salad was invented by Augustus Caesar.
Okay.
During the American Prohibition in a town called Tijuana. The restaurant is still open. It still exists today. And it happened over 4th of July weekend in the 1920s during Prohibition. And what happened was Americans in San Diego couldn't enjoy alcohol in the States. So what they did was they drove to Tijuana, which is very close. If you've ever been to San Diego, it's a 20-minute drive. You can be in Tijuana.
It's easier to get into Tijuana than is Disney World.
It is. It's like you can get in there quickly if you need to.
Now
but
returning.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I have been to Tijuana. I've also been to San Diego. Unfortunately, I didn't get to eat at Caesar's. I wish I would have. I was younger. I was probably like 15. But if I'd have known then, I would have went. But they make the Caesar salad tableside. And he invented the Caesar salad over 4th of July weekend in the 1920s because he got so incredibly busy, he ran out of food.
Wow.
So he had to come up with a way to feed people something delicious that was entertaining, so he decided he was going to make this salad table side, and he did.
Ah.
Yeah, and then their original recipe is debated a little bit, but the reality is it's romaine lettuce, eggs, vinegar, lemon juice, oil, anchovies, salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of Dijon mustard and Worcestershire sauce.
Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
I knew some of the other ingredients, but I did not realize there was a Dijon mustard.
Because the restaurant was technically Italian.
Ah.
It was technically an Italian restaurant.
Okay.
Caesar's is an Italian restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico. But so the salad was made in Mexico, but with Italian heart behind it, and it became world famous. What happened was they started serving it there.
Yeah.
Hollywood found out about it.
Okay.
All the movie stars started eating there, and then once that happens, just like today, it will spread. You know, if one of the Kardashians puts on a certain type of makeup, everybody wants it. And that's what happened with the Caesar salad. The Caesar salad became the most eaten, well-known salad in America because of an Italian guy running out of food in Mexico, and Hollywood made it famous.
Oh, my gosh, what a great story. Well, listeners, you are listening to Doing Dinner on 90.7 WKGC. Chef Chris will be right back with his Pretty Woman-themed dinner party right after this break.
This is Gene Knight, host of Cafe Jazz. And at Cafe Jazz, we play real jazz for folks who feel jazz. Original vinyl recordings from swing to mainstream and progressive, and some of the more recent releases by up-and-coming artists. Cafe Jazz is a total jazz experience. That's why your radio station airs Cafe Jazz. So if you're a real jazz lover, remember to listen to Cafe Jazz.
Mondays at 8 p.m. on WKGC.
This is Gene Knight, host of Cafe Jazz. And at Cafe Jazz, we play real jazz for folks who feel jazz. Original vinyl recordings from swing to mainstream and progressive, and some of the more recent releases by up-and-coming artists. Cafe Jazz is a total jazz experience. That's why your radio station airs Cafe Jazz. So if you're a real jazz lover, remember to listen to Cafe Jazz.
Mondays at 8 p.m. on WKGC.
Welcome back to 90.7 WKGC. This is Doing Dinner. I'm Chef Chris, sitting here with Ryan, and today it's all pretty woman. We're planning a Pretty Woman dinner party, a fork and film, where you show the movie and feed your guests an elaborate menu. And we've talked about the menu in the past segment, but one thing we didn't talk about was Vivian's love of pancakes, Ryan. I mean, I think for dessert we do some type of pancake on this thing.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Japanese pancakes, the really jiggly ones that are like really thick?
Are they the ones that are about the size of a silver dollar?
Yeah, but they're tall.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have seen those. I've never had the occasion to have one myself, but I have
really
seen
cool.
them.
They're really cool, and they're delicious. They're very airy. They're not as dense as the American-style pancake because they're made with a bunch of egg whites. Yeah, and the egg whites make it fluffy, and they make it grow, and they make it light and airy. And
do you have time to tell us a little bit about how you would create that? Because I'm imagining, is it like a meringue that you put it?
It's kind of like a meringue that you fold flour into and sugar into. Well, the meringue is going to be sweet naturally with sugar and egg whites, but you fold this cake flour in, which is lighter.
Okay.
It's more airy. That's why your cakes aren't as dense as breads. The flour is different.
Oh.
And I mean, pancakes are technically a cake. They're short bread, short cake. And, yeah, I think we should do that with these, like, nice, really pretty cool pancakes. Maybe another action station of someone cooking. So we have a movie going on. Yeah. We have chefs cooking for us.
Action station.
Action.
I like how you put that. I don't think I've ever heard that term used before in a dinner party setting, but it makes perfect sense.
It does. It really does, because it's like, if you're uninterested in what's on the screen, then at least you're interested in what the chefs are doing next to you, and it's multiple forms of entertainment. It's fun. But, yeah, I think we do these Japanese pancakes, which are these very light and fluffy ones. I think we put, like, some type of fruit on them or have, like, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and some syrups to just, like, drizzle over the top for whatever the guest prefers. Because Vivian loved pancakes, and they had pancakes in the movie, too. So it makes sense. And especially like everyone loves pancakes or waffles at like 11 o'clock at night, midnight. You know, my guilty pleasure is like a Waffle House waffle at like 12 p.m.
Mm. So for you, is it outside of this dinner? Is it waffles or pancakes?
It doesn't really matter to me as long as it has real maple syrup on it.
Yes.
And bacon.
Real maple syrup and bacon.
We can have bacon on there for dessert too now, like. You know?
Ooh, oh yes, because I've seen actually it's becoming quite popular the sweetened or sugary bacon.
Oh yeah.
And so I've seen that on several menus.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the idea of incorporating that is a wonderful one.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea on that. But
anything bacon though.
Anything bacon.
Love bacon.
Newski's, Benton's. For those that don't know, I'm a big fan and prominent advocator for Benton's bacon. And it's delicious. You can Google it. But I think some of the creative ideas I have for this thing are fun. Mm-hmm. And there's a line in the movie that it's big mistake and huge. I want big mistake and huge on our cocktail napkins. Which is fun because you go up and you order a drink and maybe you don't need another one. Just to remind you, big mistake, you know. I think that would be fun. And I think that's what could really make this dinner party to the next level, because if Pretty Woman really taught us anything is that in life, the setting that we're in matters. And it matters different to different people, right? So whether it's eating pizza on the floor or whether it's eating in a fine restaurant where they're serving escargot, we would all agree a penthouse suite makes a date better. But, you know, so does a giant movie screen and eating dinner made by people that are theming it around what you're watching.
I like your point about the setting being of great importance because you're right. Because the movie reinforces the idea that while the setting is important, it's also important to be yourself. And it shows how you can be yourself, yet it's still with acknowledgement of the setting that you're in.
Exactly.
And so I think that both of those things are really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think part of our setting needs to be roses everywhere.
I like
you
it.
know, red roses on the tables, rose petal like on the walkway walking up.
Okay.
Very cliche. You know, I would have in the invites to this thing like ladies wear red, and you know, gentlemen, we prefer jackets. And I think that would be fun because you really are setting this table for like most people aren't going to go to a movie wearing a red dress.
No.
You know, and gentlemen aren't going to go to a movie wearing sport coats or, you know, tuxedos. But if you show up to one doing that, it changes the dynamic of the setting.
So I'm thinking cocktail dresses and the gentlemen with their jackets. I think the tux jacket should be encouraged, but no bow tie. It's just the tux jacket with the top button undone, so you've got that. I would say snappy casual, but it's more than that. It's just a step down from formal, but it makes you look fun.
It does.
Yeah.
That's what I wear in the dining room at Gulf Coast State College whenever I teach dining room management. Is I never wear a tie because ties make people uncomfortable naturally. So I do wear a coat, and but I'll always have on like some Nike sneakers that are like only for the dining room, and then like a sport coat with no tie, and it is more comfortable for people to talk to you, and like you feel more relaxed with
Cufflinks?
Sometimes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Depends on how I'm feeling on the day, but sometimes I will rock some cufflinks, and usually they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually they're like fun cufflinks.
I've got some fun cufflinks for you. I've got Freddy Krueger cufflinks.
Okay.
And they usually
good
get
for Halloween.
a comment or two. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great for Halloween.
Halloween, I wear those all the time.
Yeah, you wear them every day, Ryan. I want Beetlejuice cufflinks.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, but I do think that this party should have a photo booth. And I think that we should have, at the photo booth, a red jewelry box that people have to like slam shut and take pictures. So you're recreating the most iconic moment of this movie at this dinner party, and everyone would put it on social media. I mean, it's like, it's been a ton of memes. So I think that's the biggest part, is like, we're creating a meme station, not a photo booth, a meme station. Like, this is going to be your meme for this movie. You get to recreate this world famous scene in this movie and what became an iconic Instagram meme, right? Of slamming the box shut. And I think the guests would love that. You know, I think it's very cool and something that hasn't really ever been done before.
I don't think so.
No, and I like that. Like, slam the jewelry box shut. And we could even auction off the jewelry that's in the box if we wanted. We could probably get some sponsorship for that one. You know, maybe WKGC does this party, Ryan. Like, let's do this. Lighting, fairy lights. Got to be fairy lights. I mean, they're just too romantic, right? And then they have to be the dimmable ones, because when the movie starts, I would love to dim them, like it happens in the movie theater, just to make it feel like that. Maybe some candle lights on the tables. The tables are very simple: red roses, candle lights, fairy lights overhead. The real star and entertainment of this is the movie. So I think we do that pretty proper on it. What do you think?
I like it. It has sort of this hybrid between that which one may expect to encounter at a dine-in movie theater, but you're also pairing it with this semi-formal, elegant dinner party atmosphere, and I think it works very well to fuse those ideas together, because while you can go to a dine-in cinema, you're not going to get the same type of experience you are at the party, hence why doing dinner every week you create experiences.
Yeah, we create the experience.
And that's where I think this shines, because it isn't something that you could go out and find. There isn't a restaurant, at least to the best of my knowledge, that this is their thing.
No.
And even when you have themed events at the movie theater, they're not quite this elaborate. And so you're giving the guests something that they cannot get anywhere else. And so it's destined to be one of those things that they are going to remember and talk about. And you've not only been able to gather around a beloved movie, but you've also been able to gather around food. And so you're taking the entertainment value of a movie with the heart of the food and putting them together, and it just seems like a winner all the way around to me.
Exactly. Now, I mean, I love that, and I love doing things for people or helping them create experiences, Ryan, that are one of a kind. You know, they're unique in the moment. And one of the things that I really thought about on the show that I was laughing about as I was planning the show today, I was like, is this a little too much? But I love being too much. That's what we do. Like, experiences sometimes have to be too much, right? Like, they're intentionally created to be that way. And I know that there's a game that most of us have played in college, and that game is beer pong.
Oh.
And
so we're gonna have beer pong.
We're gonna have a version of beer pong at this party that I came up with that I think would be fun. And since we were serving snails earlier, and we took them out of the shells, we're gonna have like a champagne and snail. We're going to take the snail shells, which will be clean, by the way. They will be clean. The snail shells will be clean. But if you've ever held a snail shell, they're not very big. They're about the size of a quarter. So they're a little smaller than the top of a champagne glass. So we're going to have champagne pong after the movie with dessert, where it just loosens everybody up a little bit. Everybody's having fun. The party ends on a bang like that, where we are playing champagne pong with snail shells.
Oh my gosh.
Which would be a lot of fun. And
that is definitely something they are not going to get.
You're never going to get.
else.
You're never going to get it again. Like, I went to this Fork and Film one time based on Pretty Woman. And after the show was over and we ate this amazing dinner and had all this great food, we threw snail shells into each other's champagne, which is kind of iconically Pretty Woman. You know, it's like.
That's the kind of thing that Viv would do.
It is, but it's also probably the type of thing that Edward would do because it is luxury, right? But it is very simple.
It's the upscale version
of beer pong.
Of beer pong.
And we would like to remind you, if you're going to drink, please drink responsibly, ride shares, have a designated driver, and do everything safely, especially after you play snail beer pong with champagne. Please use French champagne for this party, but no one has ever had a snail and champagne competition, which I don't think so. No, but it would be the great way to end the night, you know, like.
I mean, all kinds of things are getting greenlit today for professional sports, so who knows? Maybe it catches on. Yeah. And you will find it at Olympics, 2030? Yeah. Or whenever the next one is? Yeah.
I mean, it may catch on. And then I'm like, oh, it all started at Doing Dinner, where we create experiences.
There you go. That is an experience.
Yeah. I want the fairy tale, Ryan. There's a little hint to a quote of that movie, but I want the fairy tale. Like, this dinner party is supposed to be a fairy tale. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to hit on luxury. It's supposed to hit on simplicity. That's what you want to do with a movie like this, because that's what it made us all feel when we first watched it, right? Julia Roberts, outstanding. Richard, outstanding. Like, the whole cast really crushed in this movie. And if you're gonna do a party after it, you better be on your ball, and you better do something that was just as iconic as them performing in their art. So that's kind of how I see it whenever we create something based off this. Yeah. Because you have a lot to live up to whenever you're playing with, Richard and Julia.
That's true.
Yeah. Because they're two of the best of all time. But, behind every film is a great crew, and me and Ryan today are happy that you listened. If I had to guess, I would say I am the executive producer of The Flavor. And Ryan, my co-host, is our Beverly Hills concierge. And where he just, he talks the talk. He has real film. But anyway, this is 90.7 Doing Dinner with Chef Chris. Today, we were talking Pretty Woman, and we hope you enjoyed our little Fork and Film. If you haven't ever been to a Fork and Film, they're becoming very popular around the country now, and I encourage you to go to one. Again, this is 90.7 WKGC, signing off, where we create experiences.